Welcome, everybody, to the Offseason series of the Canuckleheads podcast. My name is Justin. I'm joined by my co-host, Mr. Wes. If that seems a little stale, it's because we fucked up and I forgot to hit record on the podcast, so this is the second time we're doing the intro.
It happens.
We're going to go over, again, what you didn't hear. So this is going to be kind of a little bit rushed, but right now, it's game 6 tonight for the Avalanche and Lightning. Avalanche are up 3-2. Games in Tampa tonight.
Yeah.
We were just talking about how there's no comparison between Hughes and Makar anymore as being Canucks fans. Like, Makar is on another level. He's probably the best defenseman in the league.
Yeah.
Offensively. Maybe not defensively, but he's still really good defensively.
And when Nathan McKinnon says he thinks Cale Makar is the best player in the league right now, that does not go unnoticed. Like, Nathan McKinnon in his own right is one of the very best players in the NHL. So for him to say that's very high praise. And like we were just saying, like, I think all the comparisons stop now between Quinn Hughes and Cale Makar, which we're happy about.
Yeah.
You don't want them to be constantly pitted against each other. Like, look at Crosby and Ovechkin, their whole career. Pitted together, man. And that's got to suck. Like, they're their own players. Let them play. Let them try to make their own achievements. And Quinn Hughes will be making big waves in the NHL, no doubt about it. It just might take a little bit longer.
Yeah, but at this point, like, you're comparing Makar to guys like Paul Coffey and defensemen like that.
That's the only name I hear floating around now, which is crazy. Like, you're talking all time.
Just the offensive force.
Yeah.
And we talked about this on the non-recorded podcast here. Like, Makar's the best player in the series.
Yeah, he is.
There's a lot of guys that have potential to take over a game, but Makar has just been so good the entire way.
Yeah, and Nathan McKinnon kind of has yet to show himself in this series. Obviously, he's heavily guarded when he's out there, but I mean, if he could have a big game, maybe pot 1 or 2 goals, it's just going to fire up the Avs, and the whole team's just going to take over. They could definitely raise the cup tonight.
The entire time McKinnon's on the ice, Victor Hedman's right there with him, basically.
Yep, exactly. So
let's go over some Canucks news here. Again, a couple things we talked about. Going back to April 12th, Juho Lammikko added to the Finnish IIHF roster. So good for Lammikko. He had a bit of a breakout season, right? Like, nothing much was expected of him, and he had a pretty decent year.
Yeah.
Like, found chemistry on the model line for a week.
I was going to say, when he was on that line, he was very noticeable. Yeah. Other than that, he was okay.
He found like a role during that period and still kind of had it afterwards, just was less offensive without Mott.
Yeah.
April 13th, 2022, the Canucks announced Bruce Boudreau will be returning to coach next season. Again, something we were talking about that I forgot to press record on the laptop. Like, it could have gone either way for this one, right? Because the GM, Alvan, wants to see him coach a full season before he gets an extension. Yeah. And Boudreau's kind of at the point too where maybe he's like, well, I just want to go somewhere where I have 3 years locked up and then I can be done, or like, maybe I'm on a contender and we catch a couple rings or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's good to have Boudreau back. He proved that I think he's the right guy for this team right now.
Yeah. And it was like I was just saying before too, like, I feel like our team is such a young team, and when it goes bad for us, it goes really bad for us. Like, we get mentally flustered, and Boudreau's the type of coach who it gives confidence to the boys and definitely makes them play to their potential, which we need in a coach. Yeah. You've seen with Travis Green, it was kind of going a negative route. Like, Petey just could not catch his stride no matter how hard he worked out there. And with Boudreau, you've seen a complete 360. We saw the alien back again, which we need all season long next season. So,
and you're right. Like, being a Canucks fan and watching his team for so long, you can just like feel it almost. Like, if that goal goes in, it's just like, if they get scored on in like the next 20 seconds, it's just, that's it. This game is unraveled. And it happens like more than you would like. So that is a good point you raised there. Yeah. Also, April 13th, OEL was named captain of Team Sweden in the IHF tournament as well. So good on OEL. Nice to see him getting a couple more games after the season too.
Yep.
And it's just recognition for him being around for a while, right? Like, he's been on the Olympic rosters for Team Sweden, and now being named captain is probably a big honor for him. I don't know if 100%. He's done it before, but obviously he was a captain in Arizona. So,
and he's used to wearing the C, no doubt about it. And it's nice for him too. He probably got to step into his offensive role again as a D-man, whereas on our team, he's kind of the shutdown guy, which he showed he's kind of a Swiss Army knife as a D-man. He showed, if you want me to be a shutdown guy, I can be a shutdown guy. So I love that about his game.
And when he did get those offensive minutes, he was good at that too.
Yep.
Another thing here, May 16th, 2022, Linus Karlsson was named the SHL Rookie of the Year. And again, like I believe he's expected to be at training camp this year. It'd probably be in Abbotsford.
Yeah. You still be at training camp with the boys.
I'm excited to see him in the AHL, right? Like we don't get to watch SHL games very often, so it'll be easier to see him play and see what level he's at. Like the SHL is a good league, but so is the AHL. So we'll see what happens with him. And he's a little bit older in his rookie year in the SHL, but he broke Petey's records for goals. Which
is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, considering it just happened, it feels like the other season. So
just shows, man, like the level keeps increasing with these young guys. Like hockey has not plateaued yet, and it's been around for a long time. The guys just keep getting faster and better. So we'll see what happens.
May 20th, 2022, Bruce Boudreau says Scott Walker won't be back in the coaching staff next year. No reason was given as to why. And then May 22nd, 2022, it was announced that Walker's decision not to return was due to family reasons. So, hopefully everything's okay there.
Which isn't he the guy that got hit in the head with the puck?
Yeah.
So I felt like at first it was because of that, and like he still maybe wasn't fully all there. So to hear it's for family reasons really sucks, but I hope health-wise he's doing okay now.
And they did say it's not like his family's doing bad. They're on the East Coast. Obviously Vancouver's a West Coast team, so it's just...
Got to be with his family.
I want to be closer to home. So nothing wrong with that. May 22nd, 2022. GM Patrick Elvan announces that Jason King and Brad Shaw will return as assistant coaches next season. Also announced that assistant coach Kyle Gustafson and video coach Daryl Seward won't return. Weird changes there.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's just bringing in his guys or if there was actually issues with like the video coach. And
it's a full reboot now.
There's been a lot of new faces brought in, which we'll continue to get to here. But interesting choices there.
Which, with the dressing room remodels, I feel like for the boys, it's going to be a complete restart.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be a fresh vibe in the room, and it's like, all right, now we got to start chomping at the bit.
Yep. May 26th, Patrick Elvain announces that the Canucks have signed SHL, have signed Linus Karlsson to an entry-level contract. I don't know why I have SHL rookie contract in there, but it's a NHL rookie contract. So, we kind of foreshadowed that a little bit. So again, it'll be nice to have him in the system. It seemed like all we had was Rathbone last year as far as prospects go. Yeah. I'm pretty high on Artur Silovs. I like Danila Klimovich too, but those guys need some more time. Yeah. Rathbone's kind of the only real guy we have that's like a young player
and can step in and play for us when needed.
Yeah. So some bad news. May 28th, 2022. OEL suffered a fractured foot playing for Team Sweden. Out 4 to 6 weeks. Not the end of the world, but you'd rather not see it happen.
Yeah.
OEL's an important piece for us, and we need him to have a good offseason. And I don't think he won't come to camp in shape. Like, he's a good veteran, and he knows.
Especially with that horrifying bag skate
Yeah.
That happened. And now Garland and him, they know exactly what to expect. I mean, Green's not here still, but I'm sure Boudreau still pushes a hard camp.
Yeah.
So they're going to come in shape and ready to rock.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the soft camps are kind of an Arizona thing, right?
Yeah.
Where like maybe nobody's really paying attention.
Yeah.
In Vancouver, you saw it like when Ole Olevi was lying on the ice. Like that was a huge story.
Garland was puking on the ice.
Which that's fine.
Yeah. And OEL was behind the goalies.
Yeah.
Like that's bad.
When you're lying on the ice, like gassed, like that's why Ole Olevi's not in Florida, not in Vancouver.
Yeah.
He's on his third team in the last year. So
not a good look. Who's he with? Detroit now?
He was with Detroit. I'm not sure if he's still there. I don't know.
Hope so. Hope for the best for him.
Yeah. I'm not sure what his contract status is. May 30th, Patrick Elvain announces multiple hires to player development roles. And then I have a picture because there was a lot of hires here. Let me just find this for us here. Okay. So the sorry, Wes, you want to fill this in while I find this picture?
That's okay. I heard that one of the hires was a guy who was in a little bit of hot water not too long ago in the media.
Which we'll get to.
Yeah, but I mean, if the NHL cleared his name, obviously he's still fit to perform in this league and not be a detriment to the team. So obviously it looked a little rocky for him, but he's back on his feet.
That one we will talk more about later. But okay, so here it is. So Henrik and Daniel will transition to new roles within player development. They'll be working on the ice with players in Vancouver and Abbotsford.
Thank God.
That's huge.
That's huge. Two of the best players to ever play for the franchise, coaching these guys on ice.
Working with the young players.
And we have Swedish players who play the same type of game, like PD. Like it's so phenomenal for the organization.
That's a great move.
Yeah.
What do we have here? Mikhail Samuelsson and Mike Komisarek, former NHLers. Samuelsson played for the Canucks with the Sedins. Are going to be working with the Canucks prospects as well too throughout the organization. So that's also another huge thing, right? Like NHL players who have
been there, done that.
Yeah, and not like fourth line guys who are in and out of the lineup. Like Komisarek was a top 4 defenseman. Samuelsson played with the Sedins. He won cups in Detroit. So.
And that's the thing too. Like obviously the Sedins didn't win a cup with Vancouver or anything like that, but they were in the thick of it during the playoffs, and they can teach these guys about mentality and stuff like that when we make it to the playoffs. I'm not saying if, I'm saying when. So that's really important because we have a young group, and I hope that they can just mentor these guys into a cup.
Yeah, and again, like just the Sedins, like that's such a big thing, right? Like those guys know what it means to be an NHL hockey player. They know how to handle the media in Vancouver.
All-time professionals.
And you hear nothing bad about them, and they were always in like the best shape for training camps, whatever it was. They were always the two who scored highest on the fitness tests.
Yeah.
So,
and it's one of those things too where you watch their highlights, you watch the way they play the game, and they set up these triangle plays that were like otherworldly.
Yeah.
And I hope that they can kind of brush that off onto these new guys, because some of our passing, especially like we get into that system where we're just pass, and the guys are stationary. They're not moving around. They're not mixing it up. They're not making it happen down low in front of the net. We need more of that because it sets up those crazy triangle plays through the leg, out front, tap in, goal. Like the Sedins have all-time highlights, and I just hope their playmaking kind of rubs off.
Be hard to recreate that with the
100%.
telepathy, but it should help, right? Like you just see the game in a different way. So. June 7th, 2022, Patrick Allvin announced that Canucks signed forward Nils Aman, 22-year-old from the SHL. 6'2", 185 pounds, and was originally drafted in the 6th round in 2022 by the Colorado Avalanche. So interesting signing here. I believe he said he wasn't interested in playing in the AHL with the Avalanche. So that's kind of maybe some red flags there. But if you can mine like prospects or guys that are going to help you, like then that's good. Give it a shot. Like if he kind of has this bad attitude, then you're not tied down to him for multiple years, right? It's just a entry level deal.
It's one of those things that can be concerning because obviously he probably is looking at it from a perspective like this team is so stacked, I'm never going to get into the lineup. Whereas on Vancouver, there's some opportunity there, but you don't want a bad apple who's, you know what I mean? It's a fine line there. So, and
maybe like he's matured a little bit. And, you know, is willing to put in some time in Abbotsford, right? Maybe especially with Sedins there, right? Like maybe that's a little bit more enticing for him. So. June 13th, Allvin announced the Canucks signed right-handed defenseman Philip Johansson, I believe is how you say it, to a 2-year entry-level deal. Played for Frölunda in the SHL last year, 6'1", 176, and was originally selected 24th overall by the Minnesota Wild in 2018. Another interesting signing, right? A right-handed defenseman.
Yep.
It's got some offensive flair, I believe. For whatever reason, I guess things didn't work out in Minnesota. But again, you come to Vancouver.
We need prospects.
Maybe you got the Sedins who can, you know, help you with whatever it is. Like, obviously those two guys know how to produce offense. So that's very smart signings from Allvin. Like I really like kind of the way they're filling out some of the gaps on Abbotsford. And it's young players, right? It's not like a Nick Patan coming in who's like a 28-year-old, like who is what he is, right?
And this is what I love about like this Jim Rutherford kind of style already is they're building for the future. Like you see what they've done thus far, and it's all smart moves. There's nothing that I've been like questioning. It's like, okay, no, this looks like a good signing. Looks like a young guy who's coming up with some hype. Like there's another guy we're going to talk about here shortly. Yes. Just nothing but promising prospects.
And you're not going to hit all these out of the park, right?
No,
but the more you bring in, the better chance you have, which I like. And they're not old guys. Like I understand like your first year in Abbotsford, bring in some vets, right? Let's have a good season where the team wins.
Yeah.
And like doesn't suck and just the fans lose interest. So now's the time to bring in some kids with potential, like that maybe can help the Canucks. Maybe you've found an NHL player in one of these guys.
Yeah, we have kind of a core now in Abbotsford, and we have a core in Vancouver.
Yeah.
Now let's just add some young pieces to the lineup and kind of mix it up and grow them into good NHL players that step onto Vancouver when they're 25 years old and can rip it up.
Yeah. Next, June 20th, 2022. Free agent forward Andrei Kuzmenko signs a 1-year ELC with the Canucks. This was nothing but positive for the Canucks in every aspect. He was kind of the big name free agent.
And could have signed with other people.
Yeah, like basically had interest from every team in the league.
Yep.
Chose to sign with the Canucks because I guess Boudreau and Alvan put in a hell of an effort to meet with him. They drove multiple hours to see him. And
the only thing that I was questioning was promised power play time. I was like...
But from some of the reports, there is no promises. Like, I think he has a shot to be in the NHL. I think all that was told is like, you come to camp, you do play good, you're going to be on the team, and you'll be in the top 9 at least. Yeah,
so. They said... I don't know if the reports were accurate that I was hearing, but they said promised top 6, promised power play.
There was words of that going around.
Stuff like that. I'm like, well, that's a little suspect, a little early for that. But I mean, if it's second line power play, and if it's like kind of how Garland was kind of slotted in and out, I'm not mad at that at all.
No, me neither. Like, I watched the highlights of this guy, and like it's hard to
judge someone off. Different league.
But as far as like power play, it seems like he plays the Besser spot, kind of down low behind the net.
Yeah, can score.
Seems more of a pass first kind of guy, which immediately to me says put him on Bo Horvat's wing.
And with Elias Pettersson, like Petey's a big setup guy too. I think they could work well together. But
like Petey can score goals too, right? And to me, Horvat is clearly a goal first kind of guy.
That's what I like.
Yeah, and Petey and Miller, if Miller's on the team, are more all around kind of guys. They can do everything.
They can do it all. Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very happy with this signing. It was down to Edmonton and Vancouver, right? And the Oilers just made it to the third round of the playoffs. So it's big that this guy chose to sign with the Canucks.
And I think it shows the potential that everyone knows this team has.
Yeah.
Like there's no doubt about it. Everyone feels this energy and everyone knows like we're 1 or 2 pieces away from making a big push here.
Yeah. All right, yeah. So the Kuzmenko, signing is big,
huge,
and like it's good for Alvain too, right? Like this was his first like real big fish he was going after, and he got him.
Yeah. So
now we'll just see what happens when he comes to camp, and hopefully he fits in, and he's just another offensive piece that we can use.
Yeah, 100%.
June 22nd, 2022, the Canucks announced the return of the Young Stars games. First Canucks game is Friday, September 16th, 2022. It's the first time in 4 years that the tournament's going to be held again. And it'll take place in Penticton, BC. So again, that's just good for the prospects, right? Like get some of the kids out there.
Grow the game.
Yeah, playing, showing off. And it's not just the Canucks, right? Like the Oilers will be there, the Flames, the Jets, prospects from all these teams. So it's great for the game of hockey and good for BC, good for Penticton. So very happy that those are back. June 24th, 2022, Alvan announces new hires and promotions within the organization. Again, I have some images of this so I could remember because it's a lot.
Yeah.
So we have Ryan Johnson has been promoted to assistant to the general manager and will retain his role as general manager of the Abbotsford Canucks. To me, that kind of just sounds like obviously he's going to run the Abbotsford Canucks, but he'll be in consulting with Alvan a lot about if there's an injury on the blue line, who should come up, or how's this prospect doing? And
he's got eyes on the ground and he can let us know who's going to be slotted in.
And from everything I've heard, like Ryan Johnson did a lot last year. Like when Travis Green was out, when Jim Benning was out, like did so much for the organization. So it's good for him to get a promotion. Yep. It's kind of weird, like assistant to the GM instead of like assistant GM. It's weird phrasing, but it's a promotion. So good for the guy.
Yeah.
Then we had Scott Young will act as director of player personnel. And this was described more by Alvan in a press conference afterwards. He's going to be kind of traveling around to all the college kids, right? And that's big too, because Scott Young was a good player in the league. Again, another cup winner. And just to have him checking in, like helping out, like that's big,
100%.
right? Like, maybe if Adam Gaudette had a guy like that, he's our third line center right now instead of Jason Dickinson.
Yep.
We had Frank Golden joins a college free agent scout. Dylan Crawford has been named the video coach. Mark Crawford, former Vancouver Canucks coach, his son. And then this is kind of the controversial one Wes mentioned earlier. Dale Talon will serve as senior advisor and professional scout. So, yeah, this is probably the first one where I'm not thrilled about it, just because Talon has that kind of
old
black
school
cloud over his name. Like, old boys kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think this should have probably just not been
the guy.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, he's just a scout, which scouts are important, no doubt about it. But I mean,
just because
there must have been some type of clearing of his name for the NHL to allow it, right? Because there's some guys
they reached out to.
That's the thing. NHL. Like, look at Babcock. No one's heard from him since.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it was bad enough, he would not be in the position he's in.
Yeah. Still, it's just kind of.
It's not what you want to see.
And with all the hires they've made, I feel like everything's been
good,
forward thinking,
positive,
and a new way of doing things. This seems like a step back.
A little bit, yeah.
And yeah, I just would have preferred to not have this.
But I mean, obviously he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing. So as a scout, I hope he can do his job accordingly. And if he doesn't, obviously they've showed they're not scared to fire people.
Yeah,
so
he'll be off with his head.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's kind of all the news we have. We've kind of caught up a little bit from what seems like a very long off season already.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of get into some player grades here.
Like, I'm ready for the season to start next week.
I am too.
Like, what
I miss Canucks hockey.
Me too.
So Wes and I have sheets here of all of the skaters that played for the Canucks this year. We're going to just wing it for the goalies because I forgot to print them off. But we have grades. We've graded every player on the season. The entire season. Not just a 5-game stretch or whatever, what have you.
Are we going over goals first? Like our predictions
we're gonna
first?
Do the grades.
Grades first.
Yeah, we'll do the goals after.
Okay.
That's kind of the big thing of the show.
We'll
go over our goal totals that we predicted at the start of the year.
Okay.
So let's kick things off. We'll just go right in order here. You know what? Let's go from the bottom to the top.
Up. Yeah.
It's better.
Yeah.
Justin Bailey is our first player on this list. This is all skaters that played games for the Canucks.
And played 14 games this season. Didn't have a big showing here, so there's gonna, like, for me personally, there's some ratings where you're gonna be like, well, that's kind of a weird rating because he's rated the same as some of the top players on the list here, but it's because he didn't get much time to show his game, you know what I mean? And I feel like Justin Bailey's the type of player that when he's on the ice, he shows his speed. But other than that, there's not a lot going on for Justin Bailey.
You're kind of... So at first, Wes, the way you were going with this, I'm like, we're going to vastly disagree.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of thinking we might be in the same realm.
Yeah.
Continue.
But that's the thing. So I don't want to be too harsh on Justin Bailey because I feel like he's a good hockey player. I just feel like he mostly shows his speed. I'm giving him a B-.
We're vastly different here.
Yeah. See, and I didn't want to be too harsh on the guy because, like, yeah, he shows his speed a lot, and that's great. But you need to do more than that.
Yeah, see, so the reason I gave him an F, right? 14 games played, no goals, no assists, -5.
Yeah, it's also, bad.
I think he's like 28. Like, at this point, he is in that realm of he is what he is.
Yeah.
He does have those moments where you're like, okay, here we go, but nothing ever happens from it. And I'm kind of just, no offense to the guy, but I'm ready to move on.
He's not an NHL player.
No, not an everyday.
Yeah.
Next, Young William.
I love Young William. You're going to see some high scores out of guys that I like, and it is what it is. I give Young William a B because I feel like he's got a lot of potential. He's another guy that kind of buzzes around, but he makes big hits. He's an impact on the game when he is there. I mean, he only got 13 games. He's -3 with no points, but I feel like he's the kind of player that he's trying to make a difference other areas of the ice. He's not necessarily going to pot a bunch of goals.
Yeah, the offense will come.
Exactly. So it's one of those guys that he can get grimy in front of the net if they give him that position, and some of those points will come.
I gave him a C+. So we're kind of in the same realm there. And again, same thing for the reasons Wes said. Like, only played 13 games.
Yeah.
And
he's young.
Yeah, like this is the start of his NHL career, right?
Yeah.
Not what I feel is like the mid or the end.
No.
Next, Jack Rathbone, an interesting one.
Yeah.
I'm going to give my reasonings first here.
Yeah.
I gave Rathbone a C So we didn't see anything from him at the NHL level.
Yeah.
I felt like there were points where he could have been called up, but I also like leaving him in the AHL for the whole year.
Develop.
To run the show. He was the guy. And he did a really good job in the AHL. If this was an AHL, I'd probably give him an A.
Yeah.
But just from his NHL showing, C. But again, lots of potential there.
Yeah.
Not like a Brad Hunt kind of thing.
No, and there's only 9 games here with a -5. It's kind of hard to judge the kid because
at the start of the year when everything was a gong show.
It was a clusterfuck. Yeah. So it was a terrible time for him to kind of have his coming out party. I've got him at a B, but I mean, that's only because there's 9 games and he has a ton of potential.
Yeah.
I believe in Jack Rathbone. That's why I gave him a B. I'd like to see him play a little bit more, especially preseason, every game.
I'd like to see him as a full-timer next year, but
100%.
See what happens.
Yep.
Madison Bowie, I gave him a C. There's just nothing there, really.
I gave him the exact same grade, a C.
Played 2 games, and that's kind of really all we need to say there. Was good in the AHL, but...
Yeah.
Then we had Sheldon Rempel, played 1 game. C. There's just one game you can't
you can't knock the guy.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I have him as a B-, and it's like I can't knock the guy for having 1 game, so I had to give him a decent score.
Yeah. It's hard to judge him. Like he's -1, but still
we were dog shit when he played. Yeah.
Then we have Sheldon Breezewa? No, it's not Sheldon Breezewa.
No.
What the hell's his first name?
I can't remember his first name.
Breezewa.
Yeah, there you go.
Played 1 game. C.
And I have him as a B- too.
Yeah.
I couldn't give him different than I gave Rempel just because 1 game, both -1, they get the same score.
Nick Patan. I think we're going to have similar scores here. Grades.
I have him as a C because
really,
yeah, and like I said, I'm not being too hardcore on these judging. I think Nick Patan is not an NHL player. He should not be on the Vancouver Canucks. I don't want to rip him too hard because he's kind of an offensive guy when he goes into the lower league. Like he's great for Abbotsford. He's just not an NHL player in my opinion. He played 18 games for us. He's got 2 assists. He's -2. I honestly didn't know why they kept putting him in the lineup when they could slot guys in.
Which is why I gave him an F.
That's the thing. My judging criteria is I'm a little too soft sometimes. Nick Patan, he's a good hockey player, no doubt about it. He's just not an NHL player.
Yeah, and maybe an F is a little harsh because, like you said, he's an offensive guy and he gets put into the 4th line grinder role. But
yeah,
I was just... He didn't do anything for me. He didn't move the needle for me.
He didn't do anything.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't know why they kept putting him in. Yeah. And it's like, oh, he has offensive flair. Well, I haven't seen it at the NHL level, so why do you keep putting him in the lineup?
Yeah.
Put young William up. Like, I don't even care about Nick Patan at this point. That's a little rude, but it is what it is.
Travis Dermott.
Love him. Love the guy.
What would you give him, Wes?
I love Dermy. I gave him an A-, and that's because he didn't play many games with us. I did like what I seen from him. I feel like he has more potential than what he showed. He's still trying to get comfortable with the guys and learn his role. I like him a lot. He has great skating. He didn't get positionally outworked too many times, so I really like him.
I give him a B.
Yeah, pretty close score.
I liked his game. Not super flashy, but was consistent. And if you look at his stats, right, for us, 17 games, a goal, assist. +5. That's not bad.
That's really good.
Especially maybe if he's your 3rd pairing guy or something like that.
I would like to see Nate Schmidt's numbers. Worse than that. Tell you that right now.
For the Canucks or for the Jets? I think Nate Schmidt had a pretty decent season.
No, for the Canucks. Look at the goals against. I think that he was clearly lower than a +5.
Probably.
Nate Schmidt, he was just a
Nate
deflection
Schmidt
king.
Had at least 5 goals go in off him.
Off his shin pads, 100%.
Random shot at Nate Schmidt there.
I'm sorry.
Where are we? Noah Juulsen.
8 games, 0 goals, 2 assists, -4. What'd you give him?
I gave him a C. I like Juulsen, and I think he's still got potential. I just want to see him more, and maybe even in an NHL role. It'll be hard on this blue line, right? Because it seems like there's a lot of guys ahead of him.
Yeah.
But I'm not ready to write him off yet.
Neither am I. And I gave him a C+. I feel like we're both kind of in the same boat on that one. He didn't have much of a showing. And he's not one of those guys where it's not like a Nick Patan where I'm watching him the whole time he's on the ice and I'm like, you're not doing anything. So it's one of those things.
Next, Tucker Poolman.
Tough season for the guy. Season. Another one that's kind of hard to rate. He had half a season. He's +2. He's got 1 goal, 2 assists. I mean, that's a tough look. He's kind of another guy who has to be a shutdown guy, so you can't really look at his points and think you're going to be impressed.
Yeah.
I gave him a B- just because the injury, we didn't see a full season out of him. Maybe he would have got more comfortable and really flourished in his role. Who knows?
Yeah, hard to tell. I gave him a C, just kind of the way things shook down.
Yeah.
Seemed a bit rocky at the start of the year. Seemed like he found his groove, and then the unfortunate head injury, which, hopefully that's a non-issue because, like we've seen it firsthand with a guy like Michael Furland. Like,
scary stuff.
Career. So hopefully he's recovering and he's feeling good right now.
Yeah. This is one I'm excited about.
Sheldon Dries.
Really excited about this kid.
Go for it, Wes.
I think he's like a poor man's Bo Horvat, kind of. He's definitely got a little bit of flair to his game. He's definitely strong on the puck. I definitely like his game a lot. I gave him an A- just because we only seen 11 games out of him. And in those 11 games, he didn't disappoint me. The plus-minus isn't great, but I mean, he didn't play in games where it was like, you know what I mean? Like the games he was playing we weren't stacked at the time. We had some injuries. He was slotted in to kind of fill those spots, and he did what he did.
Decent job.
Yeah.
I have him as a C+. For reasons mostly age-based, I think he's 28.
Yeah.
So I don't think
he's a little up there. Yeah.
But again, like another guy that I would actually like to have back.
Yeah.
I like Sheldon Dries as well.
Me too.
And I'm not ready to ship him out like a Nick Patan.
No, and for Dries as well, it's one of those things. He could play in Abbotsford and be a beast for us.
Yeah, he put up lost points in Abbotsford.
100%. His goals were ridiculous in Abbotsford.
Yeah, and again, like it's hard to find those guys that can transition, that are kind of the tweeners.
Yeah.
But he seems like he can do it. So
yeah.
Like I said, I would be happy to have him back next year.
Me too.
Justin Dowling. Interesting one. Played 22 games for the Canucks. 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. To me, he's like a little bit better Nick Patan. I gave him a C.
Yeah, I don't really... This is another guy I'm not in love with whatsoever.
Doesn't move the needle for me.
No, exactly. I gave him a C-. I feel like it's just one of those guys. He's a movable piece. Nothing special.
Brad Richardson. Only with the Canucks for 17 games, was picked up on waivers.
And I like Richie.
I do like Richie.
Showed some toughness. Got his nose broken, leaking all over the ice. Right back out there. Give me some zips. I'm right back on the ice. Just for that, I gave him a B+. Didn't have a ton of games with us. Didn't look like he was too old and losing his edge. He definitely showed physical presence and was a decent centerman when he needed to be.
I gave him a B-. Again,
so we're pretty close there.
Yeah. All things that are important from a depth player, he shows, right? And I don't think he doesn't, like, obviously he's probably lost a step, right? I think he's like 37.
A little slower.
Didn't look like he wasn't getting burnt 24/7.
No. And his hockey IQ is very high. Like, you see, he's not throwing the puck out in the middle and having bad turnovers. Like, he's smart with the puck, and he's a physical guy.
And he was kind of brought in to just replace Tyler Mott, right? Like, you trade Mott for that 4th round pick or whatever it was, and then you bring in Richardson on waivers to fill that role. So I thought he did a good job. Yeah. Cal Burrows.
Another guy, a little biased here. I love Burrs.
We're on the same page here.
I love Burrs because he throws he's a small guy out there, but throws monster hits. Always physical. You always notice him when he's on the ice because he's so physical. And he doesn't really get out skated. Like, he's obviously pretty quick for a little guy. So I gave him a B.
B.
Perfect. Right. First one we agreed on.
Travis Hamonic.
Dog shit.
That's why I gave him a D.
Yeah.
For dog shit.
Yeah. We're on the same page there. I have D+, but really doesn't matter at the end of the day. From what I hear, a little bit cancerous in the locker room. And you never want to hear that.
Yeah, like, to be fair, was decent on the ice. Like, was not, his play didn't warrant a D. It is just kind of missing the start of the year, and then these injuries when the team goes to America and he's maybe not vaccinated or whatever. Like, it just, you know what I mean? Like,
too much gossip, too much bullshit.
Yeah, there's too much off the ice for Travis Hamonic.
Yeah, you might as well call him Taylor Hall. at the end of the day. I mean, Taylor Hall didn't go through any of the COVID crap, but I mean, he just always has something negative around his name, it seems, and that's Travis Hamonic as a D-man.
Jason Dickinson. Wes, after you, sir.
It should be an F. I should be very harsh on Jason Dickinson, but I mean, on certain lines, he looked not bad. I have him as a C-. He's definitely a guy that didn't work out for us, and I'd like to see him be moved.
I gave him a D. Was brought in to be the third line center, and very quickly was not our third line center.
Didn't even play center.
He did at the start of the year, but
dog shit.
Yeah.
So bad.
Another reason why he got a D.
So bad.
But yeah, I'm not ready to write him off.
I am.
Like, we'll see how it goes with Boudreaux from the start. Like, maybe if the team gets rolling, like, he'll be all right. Like, he's got an off season to clearly work on his face-offs. And,
another one of those guys. Look at his age.
Yeah, like 26, something like that. 27,
you kind of are what you are at this point. I mean, give him another year. But
the thing with him, though, right, like, you can get better at face-off. I think no matter what age you are, you can get better at face-offs.
Especially when you're going against Bo and those boys.
So he's got that working for him. Like, I don't think he's a below-average skater. I think he's good defensively. It just, you have to be a centerman.
Yeah.
That's what you were brought in to be.
Yep.
Okay, next on the list, Matthew Highmore. I gave him a B+.
Me too.
Overall, like, he definitely had the one hot streak, like, the entirety of the model line, right? Like,
yeah.
But was effective, and is a good skater, and I like him as a fourth line guy.
Showed in the right role, he can be very effective. He just has to play with similar type players.
Also kind of reminds me of Chris Tanev a little bit, where he'll just get, early Chris Tanev, where he'll just get leveled and pop up like nothing happened.
Yeah, he's tough.
Juho Lammikko. B+.
I have B+ too, which is kind of funny because didn't have a great season, to be honest.
Didn't have a great start.
No, and neither did the entire team.
It looked like he was on his way out under Travis Green too.
100%. Travis Green was benching him. You could tell it wasn't going good for him. But I mean, what I think is really funny is look at Lammikko, Highmore, and Mott's points.
Very similar.
I think every single point every one of these guys has was tape to tape off each other.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool.
Just for the record, so Highmore finished with 12 points. Lammikko had 15. Tyler Mott had 15 in the Canucks jersey. So
yeah,
it seemed like just for whatever it was, a month, 3 weeks,
they were killing it.
Yeah,
they were our best
there was
line.
Some serious chemistry there. They were for a stretch, which is
sad,
but Tyler Mott.
Miss you, Mott.
Yeah, I miss Mott too, but I gave him a B+.
I gave Mott an A.
I probably, thinking of it, I should have given him an A too.
I gave him a flat A, 100%. And like PK guy, never showed weakness on the PK, especially when we were struggling. He was one of those guys that could pick passes off and make a chance at the other end, even though he sniped bar every time. Mott was an effective player and played his ass off for the Canucks. So thank you, Tyler Mott.
Yes. Luke Shen.
Love him.
What'd you give him?
A. Flat A.
B+. Basically an A.
He did way more this season than I expected him to.
Yeah, especially you look at his points. 17 points from Luke Shen this year.
Crazy, man.
Who saw that? 5 goals.
5
Genos for Luke Shen.
Yeah, and like on one of them, like rushed the net and made a play. Like I was like, Luke Shen's killing it. Like we might be seeing the best Luke Shen we've ever seen. I mean, he's got a ring on the finger now, so I mean, definitely confidence is high. But
more experienced. I think he's changed his game a lot too since when he came in.
No, he seems very effective.
I think we've talked about this too before, but I think Luke Shen might be the most screwed over by when the NHL changed from a more physical style to a more speed-oriented style. Like,
definitely not a speed guy.
But has reconfigured his game to be a very effective defenseman.
He has.
Brad Hunt.
B+.
I gave him a B.
Another guy did more than I expected him to.
I had very little expectations.
Me too. I expected him to be in Abbotsford for most of the time.
Yeah.
Played his role well. Was offensive.
Played 50 games.
Yeah. No, Brad Hunt was good.
Tyler Myers.
You might have a way different score than me. I have him at a flat A. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I did. Because honestly, another guy, watching him last season, one of those guys, I was like, I have no high hopes for this guy whatsoever. And it seemed like last season there was way more mistakes, like bad mistakes. But playing with OEL, I felt like he elevated his game. They're putting the A on his sweater, and I felt like he was kind of bringing it to a little bit of another level. He's not offensive like he was for Winnipeg, no doubt about that. But I mean, when him and OEL had to be shut down, they're pretty shut down. And like you look at his plus minus, great.
That is true. I give him a C plus. I just want a little more out. He scored 1 goal.
I know,
right?
Which is for a big man with a big long stick. You expect him to get a couple through.
Yeah, Luke Schenn had 4 more goals than Tyler
And
Myers.
Luke Schenn on the totem pole, especially look at the pay.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Tyler Myers should be putting up 10
Myers
goals.
Got $6 million for 1 goal.
Yeah, which is pretty sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't judge a defenseman really too much off of points, but I mean, plus minus plus 15.
And just like throw a puck on net. Like, how many times have you seen just a random shot go in because the goalie can't see it? You know what I mean?
Which I do remember him and Millsy kind of having a connection as well, and that whole thing was kind of working. So I mean, Tyler Myers, he's good in my books.
This one I think is going to be an interesting one.
Hogs.
Nils Höglander.
Yeah. I shouldn't say bad season. Definitely not the season he wanted. I know that for a fact. I gave him a flat B because I know the potential that this kid has. He's got an absolute motor on him. He's freaking rocking guys with hits. The goals will come for Nils Höglander. I believe in him a lot. So just a B for me.
I give him a C.
Yeah.
Just like...
And I'm not mad at that whatsoever.
Yeah, just not like the best season for him. Like, but
injury.
Again, like sophomore slump and like...
-6.
Yeah, I think this was his actual rookie season.
Yeah.
Like, let's forget the COVID season. He was great then, so I'm not knocking all that. But this was his first season with travel and everything. So
yeah,
a learning experience for him, and he still did pretty decent.
Yeah, it's just, the potential that this kid has.
Yeah.
And I think he is disappointed by this season, and he's going to come out flying next season.
I think he'll have a good year next year.
Yeah.
Alex Chason.
I have a really good score for Chason, and it's because he really impressed me at the end of the year. B+.
B+. I expected very little from him. I wasn't happy when we signed him.
I was pissed.
I wasn't happy with his first half of the season.
Yeah.
Again, kind of had a late scoring streak to probably earn himself another 1-year contract at some point.
Yeah.
Hopefully not with us.
Yeah. Honestly, I wouldn't be mad to see him get moved, but when he plays with the right players, he's an effective player.
Yeah, like this is a guy where you can't slot him into your bottom 6.
No.
Because he doesn't have the speed.
And he doesn't do anything when he doesn't play with skilled players.
Or if he doesn't play on the power play.
Park his big ass by the net. What he can do is he can put the puck in the net. There's some guys, you park him in that same position. It's definitely a skill. And he has that skill. So I'll give him credit for that.
Pod Colson.
I love Pods. He's getting an A flat A. Another guy, I'm sure he didn't love his season, but I mean, he still had a good season. He's +7. He's got 26 points, 14 goals. Kid, he's super young. He's only going to get better.
I give him an A as well. It's a rookie season, right? So you kind of come in with not a ton of expectations. I just wanted him to not get his head caved in night after night, and he didn't do that. And then after his first half of the year, started to figure out how to play in the league and was sniping goals and being noticeable every shift.
Yeah.
I think the future is very bright for Pod Colson. It might never be like a 70-point guy, but could be a very effective top 6 winger.
He proved this season. He's got 26 points. I mean, he's a young kid. He could be a 35-point, maybe more guy every season, and that's all we need out of him.
I think peak Pod Colson would be like a 60-point guy.
And that would be great.
Yeah. OEL.
Love him. I've got him as an A. I felt like he was in a shutdown role, so you can't really look at his points and be too crazy about him. I mean, he still has a ton of assists, 24 assists for a shutdown role is really good. And played most, he has 79 games here. That's pretty good. You'd like to see a guy make it through most of the season. He did that. And I didn't see any glaring holes. It looked like his game was pretty strong to me.
I give him a B+. Basically, same thing Wes said. I would like to see him score a little bit more, but again, that's not...
Shutdown
He had
role.
a lot of... he was getting pucks through. It just seemed like he was a bit snake bitten for a stretch there. So I'm not worried about it. No. Overall, I think he had a pretty decent season. And again, filled in great when Hughes was hurt.
Yeah.
Tanner Pearson.
I should have gave him worse than I did. I gave him a flat B. And it's because Tanner Pearson, I didn't expect shit out of him, to be honest with you. This is a guy, I don't know why he's still here. To me, at best, he's a fourth line, third line player now. He is not to be playing with Bo Horvat anymore. I don't want to see it. He's holding Bo back, if anything. I was nice to him.
What did you give him?
B.
B? I gave him a B too.
Yeah.
I don't have the deep hate for Pearson that Wes seems.
And trust me, I like the guy.
Yeah, but I agree with you. I think he is at this point a third line winger, a very good one. Same thing. I don't want to see him with Bo because Bo plays a more speed game, and I don't think Pearson is a speed oriented player.
And he's not a pass guy.
Was really good with Miller and Besser.
Yeah.
For whatever weird reason, that's such a makeshift line, but it seemed to work.
Yeah.
Again, though, like I feel like he doesn't really fit the mold of the team, especially with what Rutherford wants. Rutherford wants a speedy team. Tanner Pearson can play a hard-nosed game, but he doesn't have the wheels. So a guy that I would not be surprised if he got shipped out, but I also wouldn't hate if he does it. So.
Yeah.
Brock Besser, probably the most interesting one in the whole list.
This is the hardest one to grade.
Yeah. I gave him an A after we found out like everything going on with his dad. And he still put up good numbers, right? Like 23 goals, 23 assists, 46 points in 71 games.
Yeah.
Going through a season like where he probably knew like this was maybe his last couple months with his dad too.
Yeah.
So like
tough.
I can't like I should probably be an A+. I'm gonna change that right now. A+ for best.
Yeah, and see
I can't blame him for anything that happened this season.
He's my favorite player, so I'm extremely hard on him when I'm watching him play. I always feel like he could be doing better than he is, and especially with this season, you know his potential. I gave him a B+. You know everything that he was dealing with. It was definitely tough, and I think that's motivating him this next season to come out and put on a show for his dad. So, his late dad. I love you, Bess. I hope you have a great season. Let's go out there and put up at least 60 to 70 points and show him who you are as a hockey player.
I think Bess can do that.
100%. You see Petey at 68, and I mean, look at the rocky
nowhere.
rocky start that he had, and then he went straight alien mode for the rest of the season. So,
Connor Garland.
Love Garly. Absolutely love the guy. He's a gem. There's talks of him getting shipped out. I do not want to see that happen.
I'd rather keep Garland.
I love Garland. He's on a money contract. He plays with an edge, and he's the smallest guy out there. He'll pick a fight with the biggest guy on the ice. Love Garland. He's got an A. Should almost be an A+.
I give him a B- just because of the long goal stretch, right?
He did have a stretch, but I mean, he makes it happen, man. 52 points.
Yeah, he was still noticeable.
He's got as many points as Bo.
But if you just imagine if he was consistent through the whole season, right? Really had a hot streak at the start of the year and the end of the year.
Yeah.
Imagine a consistent Garland. Could have been like a 70-point guy.
Yeah, 60, 65,
right?
definitely.
I'm not giving him a B+ to be negative. I just think there's more potential to his game.
Yeah.
Bo Horvat, the aforementioned.
I love Bo. You already know the vibes. You go first on this one.
I gave Bo an A.
Me too.
First time 30-goal season. He just does everything that Bo does.
Yeah.
Right? Like this was a typical Bo year. Definitely had 35 if he didn't get hurt.
That's how I feel.
Could have maybe 40, maybe. Like it was a long shot, but it was still in reach.
And you look at his goals and assists here. You see 31 goals, 21 assists. He's shown he's the goal scorer on the power play. Like look at his power play goals. He's got the most out of the entire team.
Yeah.
He's the guy on the power play now. I love Bo Horvat, and A is a perfect score for him.
Elias Pettersson, probably the second most interesting one on the list.
This is another hard one to grade, and Petey's going to hate me for this. I gave him a B+. And look at his points.
Yep.
The other two guys with either the same amount of points or more points have A+. And I gave him a B+. But it's because I know Petey's potential. And if he comes out alien mode all year, I think he's with JT Miller numbers there.
If Petey's going to hate you, he's going to hate me too, because I also gave him a B+. And again, not for negative reasons, because there's just more potential there. Had a horrendous start this season.
Yeah.
Like we can't, there's no excuse there, but what a torrid last quarter, half of the year from Petey. And again, that's just something that like you see that and you're like, this kid is could destroy this league.
He could, and he's a guy that had admitted as well he's a little too honest, he said himself, but the contract was kind of messing with him. Just the whole vibe, like you could tell it was messing with him, and I think he comes out alien mode all season next season. We could see like a big time season out of Elias Pettersson.
Quinn Hughes,
A+.
I gave him an A.
I don't see any other, like 68 points as a defenseman. You have 60 assists.
Yeah, and again, it's not. He got an A because I think we still haven't seen peak Quinn Hughes. I think there's another step to his game.
Yeah,
but yeah, like broke every record for defensemen and Canucks for a season.
And
right? Like,
look at the guy's minutes. He's still +10.
Yeah,
put any other
-24 last year, whatever it was. That's
exactly
a huge improvement.
He showed defensive numbers have completely turned around. Play any defenseman on our team for that amount of minutes, their +- does not look like that.
And again, like with the Cale Makar comparisons, like Quinn Hughes is a year younger than Cale Makar. Like he's just gonna get bigger and stronger. And I'm not saying Quinn Hughes is gonna be like a 30-goal, 90-point defenseman next year, but I'm still just expecting more from him.
Yeah, 68 points is an extremely successful season for an undersized defenseman.
And finally, JT Miller.
There's nothing else but an A+.
A+. 99 points. That's probably the only thing that really sucks about his season is he didn't crack 100. Right?
Yeah.
Like you would have loved him to get that last point, but just a phenomenal year for Miller. And whether or not he's on the team for the whole season next year or traded at some point, like that was a hell of a year for Miller.
Yeah.
And while we're on the topic, unless you want to talk about a season at all, there was
no. I think just with Millsy, it's one of those guys. I feel like he's a really important piece to this group. I'd hate to see him go.
I want to see him go.
And that's the thing. It's this balance between prospects and veteran players. And I feel like if you let Pearson go, because I want him out of here, you let Dickinson go, I want him out of here, that leaves 2 open spots for a couple young guys. We need a Miller. You know what I mean? We need a guy that can put up 99 points and drive the bus when Bo Horvat's hurt.
Here's the thing, though. I think this is peak Miller.
No,
right?
I don't disagree.
He's getting better.
I don't disagree with that, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'll take a 75-point season next season out of JT Miller. I'm not mad at that.
Okay, so on the topic of JT Miller, I think it's the best thing for the Canucks to trade him.
He's at his highest value.
And, right, like if he wants a contract, he's going to want like 7, 8 years, 9+.
Yeah.
Can't do it. Like you got to sign PD in 2 years now. Bess is going to get some money. Bo needs to be re-signed.
Yeah.
And Miller will be 30 going into next year, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just trade him. Like I know it sucks. I love JT Miller, but you have to trade him because we're not going to be able to afford him. He's going to age out of our window. Like he's going to be potentially, right? Like there's always the chance like maybe he's good till he's 36, right? Like
there's some guys that do it.
But odds are he's not.
Yeah.
Odds are this is his
biggest
peak
season.
year ever. Yeah. Get full value for him.
Yeah.
Get a first rounder. Get a top defenseman. Get a great prospect. All stuff that will, like, I want to win a cup next year, but like if we get one, that's what I want. I don't care if it's in 10 years. I want one. That's the smart thing to do. Bring in assets that are gonna peak when the rest of the team is peaking, right?
Yeah.
When the rest of the team peaks, Miller's gonna be too old.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And this you can get so much for him right now.
Yeah.
Don't squander that.
Yeah, no, for sure. I definitely see where you're coming from. It's one of those, it's a tough call. It's one of those judgment calls that you're either going to regret or you're going to look back and you're going to say it's the best decision we've ever made.
Right. And just look at it salary cap wise too, right? Like
that's where it really hurts us.
Yeah, you don't re-sign JT Miller. You bring in all those assets. Tyler Myers is up in 2 years. There's $6 million there. Like whatever hole you have, you can plug with that money kind of thing, right? Like, yes, some guys are going to need raises, but that's what I think you need to do.
Yeah.
As much, like, unless you can re-sign Miller for, like, 3 years at 7 or something like that, which I don't think will ever happen.
No, it's not.
Then you have to trade him.
Yeah, unless JT Miller wants a cup You know what I mean? If he wants that, he'll take that type of deal. But I think he's looking out for his future and his family's future, and I think he's going to try and grab the biggest deal out there.
And he should too, right? Yeah. Like he
deserves
been underpaid,
his entire career.
Yeah, for this contract he's on right now. Like, that's insane.
And he was completely overlooked on Tampa because of the skill that they have. But, I mean, look at this diamond in the rough that's come to a team, got a lead role, 99 points. Come on now.
It's huge.
This guy's a monster.
So, in my opinion, that's what you got to do with JT Miller. You got to ship him out. And, like, I know that's shitty to say because he's been great and, like, he's a
leader.
Yeah, and people love him. But that's the right move. That's what I want to see done.
Yeah.
Don't... Because you're just going to get a Tyler Myers at forward.
And I don't think it's going to be quite that bad. No. But I get what you're saying.
But that's the realm you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
Maybe an OEL at forward. That's what you're going to get.
There you go. That's a way better comparison. Yeah. Big money and not really living up to the potential of his past seasons.
Yeah, not like a $7 million player.
Yeah, which I love JT Miller. Obviously, it'd be extremely sad to see him go. But, I mean, if you're getting back multiple assets, it is what it is.
Yeah, and really, like, you need blue line help, right? Like, that's where this team struggles the most. We need another top 4 guy. Arguably a top pairing guy to play with Hughes.
Yeah.
Not
D,
arguably, you need it.
Yeah, the D is lacking. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
You see it even when I'm playing my NHL, not hot...
franchise? Pro?
No.
EASHL?
Hockey Ultimate Team.
That's hot.
No, hut is online. And then this is like you buy the cards and you trade cards. The one you hate playing.
I like that one. I don't like playing the one online. It's all hut, though.
Yeah.
You can just play it different ways. I see what you mean.
Yeah, so you try and buy D-men off our team. Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
After Quinn Hughes, it's a pretty sharp downfall.
100%. It's not a good look. We need defensemen.
We have the number 1. And then we got 4s, 5s, and 6s all over the board. OEL, maybe 3, maybe 2. But...
Which I have high hopes for Dermott, too, to really evolve and be that guy. But, I mean, we need prospects.
Yeah. Yeah, good chat there. Let's go over our goal predictions from the start of the year. And let's see how far off we were on this.
We haven't graded goalies.
Oh, right. Yes.
Quickly go over goalies.
So we'll start from Mikey DiPietro, who I believe played 1 game. Yeah. I'm just going to give him a C.
Yeah.
Again, weird circumstances for him. His first 2 NHL games are probably the weirdest you'll ever see.
And a lot of goalies develop late. And I think he's one of those guys. I don't think he's a guy that's in the NHL in the next 2 years even.
And I think he's only like 22 too.
That's right? What I mean.
Let him play in Abbotsford.
I think 25, 26, you see him kind of come in as our backup goalie or something like that. Thatcher Demko's the guy. There's no doubt about it. Spencer Martin is unreal, and I can't wait for him to be our backup next year. Let's start with DiPietro, though. C. I'm going C as well. Then we get into Halak.
Let's do Martin first.
Spencer. Yeah. I kind of disrespected him there. Who,
Halak?
Halak. Because putting him after DiPietro.
Well, disrespect Halak right now. I'll give Halak a D.
Yeah. There was a few games he played really, really well. They're just few and far between, though.
I might have been hard. I'd give him a C+.
Yeah, let's go with a C+. I feel like that's a pretty fair grade. There were some games we played like absolute dog shit in front of him, and it is what it is. And
really, the big moments that stand out to me are him getting pulled in those 2 games and then getting hurt, right?
And looking at the bench, don't want to see that.
Yeah. Spencer Martin. Man, I would probably give him an A. Came out of nowhere. I had no expectations.
Grabbed a point in every game?
At least a point.
He's an A for me, 100%.
Yeah, if your backup can do that, that's huge.
Huge. If we have him as a backup next year, it just shows the amount of points that we could accumulate throughout the season and be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's what we need.
You look at just those 3 Halak games, right? I can't remember when he got hurt, but I think we lost all 3 of those.
We did.
So there's 6 points right there.
Yeah.
Or 3,
Yeah, exactly. Take it to overtime at least.
Then, the man, Thatcher Demko.
A+.
A+.
We played like dog shit in front of him. He held us in so many games. He played at such a high level. Lots of the games that he played at such a high level, it's kind of hard to tell because we were so shitty in front of him and some goals still went through. Thatcher Demko's the man.
And you clean up some defensive play, right? Like, get him a solid backup. Because the reason his last half didn't look as good because he was hurt.
Yeah,
he was
worn
out.
We played him a lot. It was the most he's ever played in a season.
And just every game's like 40 shots. Like that's a lot for a goalie to handle. So he was amazing. Like if we didn't have a Thatcher Demko, like this is a ugly season. Like as opposed to what it already was.
Yeah. On a money contract too.
Yeah. $5 mil, I'll take that.
For 5 years.
Should have locked him up for 8.
That's nuts, man. Like Thatcher Demko, he's worth every bit of $7 million in my opinion. We got him on a steal.
Yep. Which is why it's important to build around him for the next 4 years, because that's a great deal. And you don't find goalies like him.
No.
So maximize that potential.
Franchise goalie.
Now let's do some goal predictions.
Yeah.
From the start of the year. Do we have enough time? We do.
This is going to get scary.
Yeah. We'll do some math afterwards here. We'll just go over the numbers.
Yeah.
So let's start with Sutter. I had him at 7.
Sutsy's not even on this list because he didn't play all season.
Yeah, no, I'm just looking at what we predicted.
Yeah, I had 9 goals. I obviously didn't know that he was going to be not playing.
Neither of us knew that. So, yeah, no goals for Sutter.
Yeah.
Tyler Mott. I had him at 8. What'd you have?
I had him at 12. What's he got?
7.
Okay, well, you win.
Vasily Podkolzin. I had him at 12.
Oh, my God. I have him at 17. What's he got?
Pods scored 14 goals.
Okay. Kind of tweener.
Yeah. Tanner Pearson. I had him at 15.
I had him at 18.
Scored 14 goals.
So another... okay.
Oh, here's a bad one for both of us. Jason Dickinson.
12. What an absolute disappointment. I have him at 15. What's he got?
Scored 5.
Yeah.
Niels Höglander. Oof. This one will be bad too. I had him at 20.
I had him at 26.
Hogs scored 10 goals.
Yeah.
Connor Garland. 23.
26 for me.
He put up 19 goals. Beauford William Scorvat. I had him at 27.
I'm at 30.
Woo! 31.
Let's go! 1 dub for me.
JT Miller. I had him at 26.
I had him at 27.
Scored 32.
So I win again, but I'm still not that close.
This is going to be a total.
Yeah.
Elias Pettersson. I had PD down for 30 goals.
35 for me.
He scored 32. Then Brock Besser. I had him leading the Canucks at 33 goals.
40 for me.
Best scored 23.
You can tell I'm a best homer. It is what it is.
Now we got some defensemen. Jack Rathbone, who we both thought was going to be on the roster at the start of the year. I had him for 4 goals.
I had him at 9.
Scored 0.
Yeah.
Tyler Myers, I had him at 5.
I had him at 10.
Scored 1. Travis Hamonic, I had him at 3.
7.
Travis Hamonic scored 3 goals.
So you nailed it.
Nailed it. OEL, I had him at 8.
I had him at 12.
Scored 5.
Ugh.
Quinn Wolverine Hughes, I had him at 11.
I had him at 13.
Scored 8.
Justin won.
So we'll do a quick. I did win. We'll do a quick tally and we'll be back and let you know what the final score is there.
I think this season, now that I have a little bit of experience in that area, it'll be a little bit more accurate.
Want to give 9 goals to a rookie defenseman?
No, not happening.
All right, let's do a quick reset. And we'll math here. Ugh, this is going to be hard.
Oh, camera died.
No.
Yeah.
When?
I don't know.
Well, we'll just have to do black.
Yeah, we can just do audio.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay, I'm going to stop this too, so this isn't massive. Okay, and welcome back to the final segment here. Our camera died. We realized it afterwards. This podcast ran a lot longer than we thought. We have our total goal differentials here. All in all, for the players we predicted goals for, I was 81 goals off. Wes was 113 goals off. So I am season 1 winner. Goal prediction champion.
Yeah. Which we should almost do a punishment for the loser.
We'll figure
something out.
Closest one, I nailed Travis Hamonic. I was dead on with 3 goals. So
yep. And
Wes was close with Bo.
Oh, yeah. 30 I had.
Yeah, the higher goal scorers, you were closer than me. In total, I was closer, but Wes had a couple where he was pretty
close
decent.
ones. Yeah, even PD -3, like that's not a terrible look. JT Miller -5. I mean,
like
let's close -3 on pause.
Let's just go over our defensemen because this is where I think
it's what really.
So my defenseman in total, what do I got? My defenseman in total, I was -13. Or I was 13 goals off.
I was 34.
Yes, that's where the real money happened there. And Bess.
Yeah, Besser was at -17.
Yeah.
That was my worst one.
Mine were Bess and Hogg. I both. Oh no,
Dickinson.
Yeah, Bess and Hogg I had at -10 each.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'll do it for the off-season series. We'll be back after the draft, after free agency. Kind of that's when we'll...
Any big trades?
Yeah, we'll reconvene. We'll talk about what's been going on in the world of the Canucks. So thank you for watching. Check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever there's podcasts.
We got to do the knuckle bump loud enough they can hear it. Another one in the bag. We tried.